All right. What is the dumbest thing that we have ever done as a podcast?
Well, it's twofold in a sense, right? Like you could look at this twice. Like we are the originals of the Podcasters Dozen with the top 11.
It's true.
And how did that happen, Bill?
Because you forgot to put Mr. Perfect on a list where he would have ranked pretty high, actually, on the all-time Intercontinental Champions. But by some strange coincidence, we kind of had a top 10 last week.
Yeah, we kind of did this again because it's really on me because I didn't realize that Trans-Siberian Orchestra's version of Carol of the Bells, which also is listed as a song, is also the Christmas Eve song.
Well, you got mad at me and I was like, it's the dun 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 dun. You're like, no, it's not. And I was like, well, I guess I don't know what I'm talking about then.
Yeah, you know what, Bill? We should always realize one thing. When you don't think you know what you're talking about, don't trust me.
Well, if you talk to the average teenager of today and you ask them what it is about pop culture that they like, and the first thing they'll say is the beat.
Get yourself addicted.
Welcome into the Pop Culture Piledriver. Get addicted to the content. I'm Jason Rossi. You can follow me along all social media platforms at Jason D Rossi. You can follow us at the show, this little hub in this little home, this safe place in the year of 2020, which is nearly over, at Pop Culture PD. And it will instantly make you more miraculous, Bill. And with me, as always, my tag team partner here in the podcast sphere. He can be followed across all social media platforms at Billy D 2411. His name is Billy D. What's going on, man?
Hello. Not too much. That was actually the Rossi's horrible take of the week, by the way. The wrongness. It wasn't even a horrible take. We were just dumb.
You know, and I fancy myself a pretty good math guy. It had nothing to do actually with adding. It was just pure stupidity, anger. I've been so mad at you recently because of the things you've done to me mentally, physically. Like, I haven't been the same father, same husband, same son, same brother, same friend. I've really been burnt out, miserable since the peanut butter cookie incident. And some people say, like, that's kind of a joke. Like, did I overreact a little bit? Sure. But, like, I really thought about it after. I was like, that was such a mean thing to do. And so unnecessary that it's really shooken me to the core. I've beaten my cat. I have. No, I'm kidding. Bad. Yeah, I'm kidding. Maybe I should be careful about that stuff. I did have to hit him once because he was getting too close to my son, and I'm a little worried about that stuff. But I didn't hit him hard. Just like, let's save myself from this. There's another horrible take for you.
Push them out of the way.
Yeah, there's the headline: Rossi cat beater. But yeah, I just haven't been the same person, and I think it affected my knowledge of Trans-Siberian Orchestra's discography and music catalog.
Yeah, it's okay. It happens to the best of us. A little dad brain. I mean, I'm not there, obviously.
No,
at least that I know.
It wasn't dad brain. It was you ruined me brain. It was you physically.
Well, I'm like a child, so
that is true. Enough. You're like my other child right here. My podcast kid. But yeah, Bill, people can follow us here on the old Pop Culture Piledriver everywhere. Any place you listen to a podcast, we are there. So if you're finding us on YouTube or on Twitter, appreciate you. Give a subscribe, give a like. Goes a long way to help us out in the old algorithms. But if you are a podcast listener, make sure you subscribe. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, if I didn't already say that. Basically, literally everywhere, including
Stitcher, Spreaker. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, you porn, wherever you go. Also,
XXN, Simpson stuff.
Also, most importantly, over on iTunes, if you are someone in the old iOS system, please subscribe on iTunes. Leave a 5-star review. Again, it goes such a long way. It takes 13 seconds of your day. If you do that for us, DM us at Jason D Rossi, at Billy D 2411, at Pop Culture PD. Let us know what we can do for you. Do you have some sort of side project? Do you need something liked on your side? Let us know. We will do it for you. We're asking for it in return. This isn't a one-way street. It's a two-way street, baby. Just don't hit each other. And as always, this podcast has a nonprofit sponsor, partner, should I say, which is franksayshi.com. It is the giving season. We normally have a huge event in January that will not be happening. We'll give a little more information of how we're going to be doing matching donations. So if you are looking to support a cause, Frank Says Hi goes directly to the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, but not giving funds just to the general cancer research, which there's plenty of funds and a lot of things that go that way. We're giving directly to the patients that are having a really tough time, especially in 2020. Not as many people can go in and donate their time due to safety concerns. So this is a way we're trying to get funding or gifts or different things to people affected by cancer in the greater Boston area. Again, Dana-Farber Cancer Institute is internationally known. People fly here for their treatment. So any dollar counts, goes a long way to helping a child, a teenager, someone in their early 20s that is dealing with the unfortunate side of the world. We think 2020 is tough. Just cancer is the biggest bitch in the world, and we got to knock that crap right out, hopefully sooner rather than later.
And maybe in 2021, we could do a little fundraiser, or 2022, actually, with the DSG.
Oh,
it would be 2022, right? We do it in January.
Yeah, but we could still do something in 2021. Bill, please, the ideas have been flown with us for me, and I love that idea. Maybe there could be something. There is going to be a gathering of the Juggalos, if you would, of the DSG, I believe.
Tonight.
If you're watching this live tonight, if you're listening to this, check out. Is this a Facebook exclusive? Do we know?
I think it's a DSG Facebook joint.
Okay. So make sure you go over there, like the DSG on Facebook, Dork Shared Gooniverse, and make sure you follow all the podcasts there. You can check it all out again over on Facebook because you know you're there. 97% of people have a Facebook account, including my son, I think, which is not true. All right, Bill. This week, there's a lot to get to. You got so much stuff stuffed in that big old brain of yours. So why don't we start by getting it? Let me cue up this as I continue to stall. Get this out of my mind. Music by Oh Yeah.
Yes, you got it. On Spotify and Apple Music, go check them out. They'll be dropping some new stuff soon. And I actually did the little Spotify video that they have that you see.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Bill, very talented in so many ways. Make sure, again, you can check out all of his ish at Billy D 2411 across the platforms. Bill, this week, get a little Mandalorian review. And everyone has a big old stiffy for this. And I'm getting nervous because I'm still yet to watch the show. I feel like I should, but tell us about it.
All right. So this week was phenomenal. Once again, or last week, I should say, on Friday, whatever the episode they released was. I know some people may have not seen it. Rossi just hit his camera for those of you listening.
I was doing the phenomenal AJ Styles, and I almost wrecked my entire set.
But really, if you had made this into a movie, these two stories, it would be the best movie in the Star Wars history. It was amazing. I haven't really listened to anybody else's take. I missed the dork minute on it, and I didn't catch the beginning of the podcast last night either, but I'm sure it was rave reviews from everybody. They took a character from Star Wars lore, and boy, did they give him his due. Everything that they did in this episode was phenomenal, and I think it has a lot to do with directing. Directing is a huge part of everything. I have directed very tiny little things in my career, but it is phenomenally tough. And Robert Rodriguez, the guy who directed what is that movie that's escaping my head? Salma Hayek, Desperado. He is a great director, and he absolutely knocked it out of the park with this one. Really the best. I think this might have been the best episode. The Ahsoka Tano episode with all the stuff that was going on there was really good too. This was just as good, so probably 1A, an A here. So it was a phenomenal viewing of TV, and I've seen it twice already.
Nice. How long are Mandalorian episodes?
It's weird. Sometimes they're 34 minutes. Sometimes they're pushing 50. I forget what this one was, but it felt like a breeze. And, characters in danger, story drive, everything going on. Plenty of Baby Yoda, or Grogu, as you call him now.
I don't like that.
I love it, actually. It was insanely good.
I like the Baby Yoda. I have not watched the show, so I guess I can't judge it too hard. But I just like the aura of the name Baby Yoda. Grogu doesn't do it for me. But Bill, for me, a couple quick hitters here. Bunch of stuff's happening in the world. Number one, the news came out between our last podcast and this podcast that HBO Max will now be releasing everything that you want to see. No need to go to a movie theater in 2021. Obviously, health concerns are number one. But your thought on the idea of being able to stream via HBO Max movies such as, obviously we know Wonder Woman will be on Christmas morning. Looks like, Space Jam up to, it's all the DC movies, right? Is that kind of,
I think so. I don't know. We haven't gotten dumped on this yet by Mac and Goo. So I haven't.
No, they dumped it. Bill, they dumped it right on our heads the other day.
Oh, they did? Oh, I must have missed it.
I was shoveling because we had a big old snowstorm.
I did mention that stuff. I didn't know that it was a lot of these releases, but that's great. That's great news. I mean, I am out and about, but in a safe way. I don't know if I'm going to sit in the movie theater for 90 minutes for a while. But, Wonder Woman on Christmas morning, that is a great way to start the day. I will 100% be doing that.
Yeah, it'll probably be the way I'll end my night. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I thought originally that this was going to include a price tag. Like if they release Dune, everyone's got a big old poof for Dune. And I thought it would come with a $19.99 price tag. They haven't officially said it won't, but it doesn't look like it will. I assume HBO Max might actually up their month charge though, but again, none of this is official, but officially these movies will be released there. So if you want to watch LeBron James' Space Jam in 2021, guess what? You could do it with your butt on your couch and in front of your Michael Scott television and enjoy yourself, because that's the situation we're living in, Bill.
Yeah, I would pay a decent amount for Wonder Woman at home if it's going to be just included with the stuff that I already pay for. Oh yeah, she's amazing. But yeah, I would totally 100% sign up for that.
I did notice that it was Christopher Nolan ripped this idea, does not like it, says that millionaires, I forget the exact quote, but hold on for me. Like basically the gist is they may spend millions of dollars to make impressive movies for movie screens for these things. Now they're going to be released on the worst, he said, the worst streaming service. So take that for what it is. I think it's just a shot at it.
Once it's up and running, what does it matter? Like what streaming service it is? It doesn't matter once it's on the screen. I will say Peacock blows. They have a million commercials and it takes a long time to get there. But like if the thing is commercial free, once it's on your screen, there's no difference.
Did Dork put Peacock in their streaming service rankings? I got midway through. I just love Davey was sweating Hulu, which I agreed on.
I don't know. I don't think so. And if they did, it shouldn't be very high. It literally has the worst selection. It doesn't even have a lot of the good shows. And it's a pain to navigate. And it always takes like 20 minutes to load.
Okay. Haven't gone there yet. I'm going to, because Saved by the Bell, I'm going to be watching that. I got to check that out. That's on my short list. Speaking about things that have been released, Bill, Big Mouth Season 4 released this past Friday. I've seen a lot of people in the chat, ups and downs. I watched the first episode, found it funny, didn't love it.
Oh man.
But I'm not out on the show in any way. It's one of my favorite new release shows. I thought season 1 and 2 are iconic. Season 3 was a great compliment in my opinion. Season 4, I'm looking forward to finishing. I just felt like it was a weird time to release it, but who the hell am I?
I don't know. I was dying laughing during episode 1. I made it to episode 6. They have a flash forward episode, which you saw in all the commercials, where you think it's their parents, but it's actually them. Really, really funny stuff. I loved every minute of it pretty much besides that episode. It was like I was belly laughing at a few things. Jason Mantzoukas, amazing. Nick Kroll, John Mulaney. I had a ball.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Seth Rogen character.
Oh my God, with the duck egg.
Oh my! And then he goes something. Was it like a mongoose?
Yeah.
And then Hormone Monster. That don't look like a mongoose. Great stuff. Great start to the episode and the season. I love the recap, by the way, as well. I thought that was a nice.
They always do a great job with that. And Maya Rudolph, I would say, skyrocketing in my all-time favorite actresses, probably number 2. Amazing as the female hormone monster. Unreal.
Shout out to our friend Lauren, who looks like her and doesn't really appreciate saying that, even though I think Maya Rudolph.
She looks like the young, hot version of Maya Rudolph.
Yeah, I still think Maya Rudolph, I'd give it to her.
Yeah.
We'd lay down some wood.
She's probably pushing, what, like 55? I don't know.
No, I don't think she's that old. Probably mid-40s. That's my guess. Bill, last thing. Favorite female wrestler of this podcast, not Charlotte Flair, but Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins welcomed in a baby girl named Rue, spelled R-O-U-X. So congratulations to them. That's exciting in 2 fronts. 1, anytime you bring in a kid, come on. But tell me that doesn't warm the old cockles. 2, selfish stuff going on here, Bill. Looks like she may be ready to return for WrestleMania 37 if things go according to plan. And, you're a phenomenal athlete. Your body responds way better than mine has, because it's been almost a year and my body still hasn't responded.
Yeah, there's been a couple of females to get back pretty quickly after, dropping a kid out. I think Brie Bella did it pretty fast. I think even Maurice wrestled at a WrestleMania shortly after having a child. So it can be done. Obviously, Becky Lynch is a higher work rate than those girls normally. But she's a phenomenal talent. It would probably get me back into watching regularly if she got back on screen. And, what's Seth Rollins?
Well, he was the Monday Night Messiah. Moved to Friday. He's out off television. He kind of sacrificed himself, if you would, at Survivor Series. So he's off camera right now, but we'll see what he comes back with.
Yeah, so this is they got to make little shirts that say the baby, I'm sure, right?
Well, there's the boy. So I actually have this thing where I'm a little spoiler what I'm going to probably do for a Christmas card, or at least some form. I'm not even going to tell you. Wait till you see my ugly Christmas sweater. Then my wife, I got her one, but there's one just called, there was the boy. And there's the girl. So they didn't know what they were having. So I got my son a onesie that says the boy. And I call him that half the time. Anyways, but yeah, so great stuff going on in the world there for Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, your favorite wrestler. Now, Bill, today we're rewinding the clock. We're almost done with 2020. And a lot of people feel like on New Year's Eve, like the world's just going to be a better place in 2021. Spoiler, probably won't be. But while we're getting rid of 2020, let's rewind the clock 30 years, Bill, as we look back at the year 1990. We're going to be doing one of the old famous Pop Culture Piledriver OGs, the I almost said Piledriver, the Jukebox of 1990. So we're going to look at the top 100 songs of 1990 year-end Billboard Awards. If you're watching on YouTube or on Twitter, we'll show you the songs on the screen, but you can just Google the top 100. It's a nice little Wikipedia. But in 1990, Bill, it was the year of the horse. That was the Chinese side. Sounded kind of a strong year, wouldn't you say? A horse?
Yeah, a horse is a horse, of course, of course. Weird. I never understand how they pick them, but I don't know. I'll have to look up what my year is.
Now we can look at 1972 later. Average cost of a new house, Bill, was $123,000. Take me back.
Wow.
Some headlines and things that were happening that year. Tim Berners-Lee published more formal proposal for the World Wide Web, and first web page was written. He was the one who helped develop code to make us look at what we're doing now, Bill. Look at this. We're on the internet. We're seeing each other, not in person. We're in laptops. There's so many things that were developed. 1990, a major year for the old intertubes. Microsoft released Windows 3. Couldn't even tell. I don't think I've ever seen Windows 3.
It probably took up a whole room.
The Sci-Fi Channel was started, Bill. First time Sci-Fi came on was in 1990.
Ooh. Is that where we got Mystery Science 3000?
Don't believe so. That might have been. Don't quote me. Yeah, I don't know. Bill, one of our favorite shows of all time. Weird ending. Weird first season. Maybe the best first season of a television show. Twin Peaks premiered in 1990.
Yeah, I mean, a phenomenal show. I think I watched it when I hurt my leg a few years ago, and then I urged you guys to watch it. One of the worst season 3s of all time, but seasons 1 and 2. Whew.
You know, it's funny. I still haven't finished season 3, but then I watched a video of what it all meant and kind of opened my eyes. But of course, there's no direct, you know, how David Lynch does things. It's not like, oh, here's what it all meant. So somebody had to dissect it. Who knows if it's real?
We got to do all-time TV characters per decade, and Dale Cooper. Dale Cooper.
One of the first things we talked about when transitioning from full-time wrestling to Pop Culture Piledriver was a 90s TV character just discussion. Could do a draft, could do a million things on it, but Dale Cooper has to be on there for the 90s.
He could be he's Mount Rushmore, I think. He is incredible.
Kramer's got to be, but again.
Yeah, I would give George on Seinfeld.
Look at this. Look at us. Also that year, Milli Vanilli, their producer, revealed that the Grammy Award pop duo were lip-syncing. I can't believe I feel like that was later.
Blame It on the Rain. Yeah, it does feel much later. They were on this chart, but I think they charted before that higher. So that's kind of how I look at these things. Where do they chart the highest?
Yeah, they were more of a 1989, 1988, as we did the Jukebox from those years, or 89, at least in the past. Bill, can you name the sports champions if you didn't already take a peek ski?
I didn't. I did actually look at the list this week, but not this portion of it.
I can tell because you messed up my cheat. Yeah, 1990.
1990. Fudge. Basketball. Lakers?
Nope. Do you want me to give it to you? Pistons. Good guess. They beat the Trailblazers in the NBA Finals. How about the old Stanley Cup? Think about the best players on the planet and where they played.
Edmonton
Oilers. For the NFL, who won the Super Bowl in 1990?
I think this was before the Cowboys started.
Yep.
So who was really dominant right before the Cowboys? Was it the Redskins?
Nope. Can't say that.
The Washington football team. At the time, they were the Redskins.
I know. I'm joking. You're right on the nose, Bill. Who was the dynasty before the Cowboys?
Steelers? No, that's way before that.
After the Steelers, before the Cowboys.
There was a dynasty? Oh, no idea.
Who's one of the GOAT? Who's in the argument of GOAT?
For player or team?
Player. When people say, "Oh, this is the greatest player of all time in the NFL."
Oh, the 49ers. The
49ers. And lastly, the World Series champions in 1990.
It was before the Yankees started, too.
Yeah.
Dodgers? I have no idea.
The Cincinnati Reds last time.
Oh, shit. Wow.
Yeah, they were a juggernaut. Look at that lineup when you're bored later. The number one movie of the year, Bill, was Home Alone.
And deservingly so. One of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, it had a 12-week run at the end of 1990 into 1991. But yeah, still was able to just crush in the box office. Highest selling album of that year was Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation. 1814 is the name of the album. Grammy of Record of the Year. This was a weird year of music, by the way. Grammy for Record of the Year was Another Day in Paradise by Phil Collins. Sure. Song of the Year, Bill, was From a Distance, performed by Bette Midler. And Grammy for Album of the Year, I could give you 10 hours and you would never get this. Back on the Block, an album produced by Quincy Jones, is featured all sorts of artists from the time, kind of like what Santana did back in almost a decade later.
Yeah, Rashida Jones's dad featured on a few episodes of Arrested Development in reference. I don't really know much Quincy Jones besides the fact that he's one of the all-time great producers.
Yeah, honestly, when you said Rashida Jones's dad, it's funny how times change. He obviously world-renowned producer. Music changed major time as like hip-hop became more of the flavor of the music industry, and producers like Timbaland and the producers we've talked about on this podcast since have become like bigger names. But Quincy Jones, one of the OG great producers. Phil Spector again, even though he's a complete creep. Bill, I'm going to give you the top 10 from 1990. This will start our conversation, and we can kind of review. And again, if you're over here on YouTube or Twitter, if you're watching us live, we'll show you the list. But number 10 was Blaze of Glory by John Bon Jovi. Number 9 was Cradle of Love by Billy Idol. This is just snapshotting kind of where we're going. Hold On by En Vogue was number 8. Number 7 was Another Day in Paradise, Phil Collins, that won that Grammy. Number 6, Vision of Love by Mariah Carey, my wife's favorite Mariah Carey song. Number 5, very famous Madonna, Vogue. Number 4 was Poison by Belle Biv DeVoe. Number 3 was Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor. Her career went down in flames after
she burned a picture of the Pope on SNL. Yeah, great moment.
I'm stupid. Whatever, do your thing. Number 2 was It Must Have Been Love by Roxette. But it's over now. I'm going to sing all that probably. And number 1 was Hold On by Wilson Phillips, a song that had like a little resurgence because of Bridesmaids.
So 2 hold-ons in the top 10.
Oh my Lord, Bill, look at you. Hold on.
It's 2 of the same songs now. Very different songs.
Dude, they did it too. We are not the only ones making these mistakes. They did it too.
An odd year for music. This is like an awkward teenager. Like didn't know what it wanted to be because going through the Billboard 100, and they do a great job on Spotify. So if you're on Spotify, you can just literally type in any year and the word Bill and it populates, and you can listen to all of these years. And I kind of listened.
Time out. So if I put in 1990 Bill, it pops up?
Yeah, the Billboard chart of that year in order pops up.
I thought it was like you. I thought like you did it.
Oh, no. I wish I had that idea because then we'd be like the number 1 powerhouse Spotify go-to. No, if you type in 1990 and then like type in like a couple of other, letters in Billboard, it should populate right away. But that's how I kind of do the research for this. And the way I made like the ones I wanted to talk about, and then I threw a few in there, were the ones I had already liked on Spotify to put in my liked songs. And I will say probably out of any year, this is going to be the least amount of likes I have in any year. It was a weird year. Just like so many different genres of music. You have so much like electro kind of pop stuff. You have old. It feels like so old, like Phil Collins old, like
Chicago.
Chicago making the list. Just people who are kind of like sputtering out of the 70s and 80s and still hanging on in the 90s. And then rap's just kind of getting like mainstream accepted. You can really tell like real rap hasn't cracked the top 100 yet, but they're kind of starting to get some pop vibes in there. So it was just a very strange year.
I would argue that, I think it was the best way to put it. It's that awkward teenage year. It's like 12, 13 years old, pimples, feeling things are happening downstairs. Because, like you said, there's definitely like the 80s we're not done with the 80s because I don't think a decade moves on to like 2 years in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not going to be over like the 20 teens, if you would, till probably like another 2 years. You'll see like the shift of things. But I would say that this potentially is, it's so awkward. You have the Vanilla Ices, the Janet Jackson, Luther Vandross. You have like the Skid Row still in there. You have Tom Petty with Free Falling in this year. You have the B-52s at their height, but it feels like they're more of an 80s band because a lot of these songs, again, released in 1989, but stayed on the charts.
It's their sound. It's definitely their sound.
Yes, no, without a doubt. I said Roxette, Billy Joel with some of his stuff, New Kids on the Block making their things, like the Humpty Dance. There's so many songs that
Billy Idol.
Billy Idol, exactly. Like he's a guy you think of when you think of the 80s. There's just so many songs in here that you go, where was this? Like then you saw like that beginning of like country crossover as well. There's just a smattering of genres.
I don't know much, but I know I love you.
It's insane. And also, like we said,
it feels like a song from the 70s. Like I was shocked to find out that was in 1990 because there's a great Scrubs episode where Turk just sings that into his little recorder the whole time. I don't know much. But it's really like it doesn't have a feel to this year. Like there's no like 90 sound.
No, and that's the thing. I think like we're probably going to look back at a year, maybe, well, 2020 is weird anyways, because it was more like what was popular on TikTok charted. But I think we'll potentially look back at a year like this in 20 years when we're doing this podcast in 2050. Yeah, think about that. And maybe be like, look at this random year. Again, just bizarre stuff. So what are some of the songs that you pointed out? Is like, again, just so you know the rules here, we will be nominating 2 songs each to go on the vote for the jukebox. Give you about a week to vote on that. By the time next week, we will put one song in the annals of time, etched in stone of all time in the Pop Culture Piledriver Jukebox, which will accompany songs from 1983, 1989, 1999.
Yeah, I missed Rome as we were scrolling through that list. That's definitely a liked song of mine. Just a great B-52 song. It doesn't feature, the Robert Palmer-esque looking guy there that screams if you see a pain of time.
The guy's one of the worst.
Or or Rock Lobster. Yeah, but this song, I was listening, turned it up on the turned it up in the car yesterday while I was driving home. Just blaring it. It's a great, what would you call this genre-wise? Just like a pure pop?
Oh, yeah. B-52 is like bubblegum pop of the time. Like, that is like I was about to say Kesha. Who am I, 10 years ago? But like that style of music, like just completely like digestible, easy to listen to. Older people would be annoyed by pop music.
Yeah, it's got a great little start to it. I hear a name.
Jam. I love the song.
And then a couple of weird ones. Snap the Power. I got the power. I think that was featured in the live action Super Mario movie.
Sure was, Bill. Sure was. It was the part where the Yoshi character, when they have those like flying boots, that movie really, that should be one maybe we go back to. Maybe it could be even like a YouTube short or something, because it might be one of the most bizarre, uncharacteristically like off base, like Mario.
Wasn't John Leguizamo in it?
Yes, he was Luigi, Bill. This movie, and you had freaking Pop Quiz Asshole as the bad guy. I can't think of his name all of a sudden. From Speed, not Dustin Hopkins.
Hopper?
Was it?
Dennis Hopper? Is that
Dennis Hopper? Yes, he played freaking Bowser. Bill, Mario Brothers was the biggest craze from like 1985 through like the early 90s, and it's still to this day one of the largest like.
Bob Hoskins, perfect Mario. I was gonna say the casting seems odd except for him. He's on the money.
But it's not even about just the casting. Just the story, the look, the feel. This movie you could have not messed up Mario Brothers at all.
I feel like this was one of the things like I never needed a movie to. Even as a kid, I was like, this feels fucking weird.
I remember watching it, and Yoshi's like looks like just a lizard dude, and he's like people in the whole like other world where they were turning people into Yoshis or Dino bots, whatever. It was a bizarre ass movie, but yes, Power was in that movie.
Yeah, that's the lasting effect that movie has for me is the song "I've Got the Power," and then a little bit better of a Technotronic type of song by Technotronic, "Pump Up the Jam" that charted on this thing the year-end number 13. Really loved that one, and then we start to get into ones that I really really like. Some all-time favorite songs here: Biz Markie, "Just a Friend," number 94 on this list, peaked at number 9 in March. And this was a song that I think like finally let my parents into like it's okay for rap music to be played in the car, because it would be on like Kiss 108, and you would hear like legit rap music. Great music video with him dressed like George Washington at the friggin' piano.
I think he might have been Mozart, but
yes. Was it Mozart? That makes more sense, doesn't it? He had the wig on, whatever it was.
Did. Yeah, he looked like one of those 1600 type Jigamabobs. Anyways, but that song really is, Bill. That actually might be the song, that and Ice Ice Baby, kind of when I take a 1,000-foot view of this list, like those songs remind me, okay, I was like 5-6 years old and I remembered that. Biz Markie obviously lives through time. I kind of feel like that song could have been, oh yeah, hit it. You got what I need. That song could have been released in 1984, 1994, 2004 in my head in a way. It's one of those.
Because it's relatable, classic, and like the lyrics they hit home as well.
Yeah, who didn't, I'm cheating.
Yeah, don't ever talk to a girl who says he's just a friend.
Yeah, seriously. What else you got on there?
So I have, and I was really surprised. I looked to see if this charted higher in other years, but MC Hammer, and this got some consideration for my vault pick. You Can't Touch This. A phenomenal song. I can remember at field day when I was 7, an MC Hammer impersonator jumping out of the side door and doing the worst hammer dance I've ever seen. It was awful. Song only peaked at number 8 all time I would have figured this made it to number one. I think that still shows you like the kind of tough time people had accepting this kind of music at the time. And obviously, you know, one of the original great beats of all time from Rick James here. But you know, MC Hammer, I was floored when I didn't see it at number one ever.
Yeah, dude. I thought that was like a legit number one song with a bullet. By the way, in this list, a lot of Michael Bolton. A lot of Michael Bolton here too. So if you remember being a kid, I don't know if your parents or aunts or uncles or anybody else that may have had, you know,
I celebrate his whole catalog.
Well, listen, somebody has to, but yeah, a lot of Bolton here. This was the height of Bolton, if you would, until he returned with the what was it? I'm on a boat. No, what song did he do with Lonely Island?
I think it was no. Did he do anything? Oh no, Cinephile one.
What?
The Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
This is the tale. Oh, and one quick one that I missed. That's one of my friend Jared's favorite songs. Is "Go West," the King of Wishful Thinking. Another song. No, that's on yours.
No, it's considerable because that song is so like ridiculously catchy, fun. Like you can see where. If you have shopped in Target, Walmart,
that's why I took it off my list because I saw you had it.
Yeah, I know. We can talk. Nothing's official. Both of us are considering. This is kind of more fun where we're kind of free. We're gonna see what happens at the end, who we're gonna throw in. But that song is like the ultimate. Like it's the Shazam song of the century for me because I never could remember the name of it, who sang it. The video is absolutely ridiculous. A friend of the podcast, Pat, who's on our fantasy league, this was one of his theme songs one year. But me and him, for almost an hour on the phone, he was trying to get me to remember this song because he was like, you know that song? It's like so 80s. You hear it in a lot of supermarkets or department stores. And we went back and forth, and then eventually he did find it. His clues were awful, but we did.
It's got to be like somebody from one of those like Earth, Wind and Fire type groups that like started a different band because it really has a familiar sound. And I'm surprised like Go West didn't have more hits because this is a catchy ass song. So I really like that one. Again, a very relatable type of song. Sorry. And then another Scrubs classic here, Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison. I learned the Turk dance from this, which became a popular Fortnite dance. Again, another song that I think, you know, this was kind of a little bit more like obviously from the you know, those you know, boy bands back in the day. This kind of was the little more developed version of it. But, you know, I'm all about the Belle Biv DeVoe Poison and the lyrics in this song. Never trust a big butt and a smile. Very, very true. So that's
very relatable. Again, very
relatable. An all-timer for me right there. And then I would have considered this as a lock to make my vault pick here, but it charted the highest in 1989, but finished on the Billboard charts at the end of the year higher. Rhythm Nation by Janet Jackson. I actually like a lot of, like, obviously Michael Jackson has the better catalog and the better performer, but I like more Janet Jackson songs, like to listen to more frequently.
I would say Janet Jackson, maybe this is an odd way of putting it because obviously she did the nip thing, which was cool in some ways. And then also ruined radio, television, everything for the last, what has it been, like 15 years, 16
and Super Bowl halftime stuff.
Yeah, and what a turd. But with that being said, also free the nip, hashtag free the nip. But she is like the sleeper, if that makes sense. Like you hear her music and you almost like underdogly root, like, oh, this is Jam. Like she has a great catalog of music.
It's amazing.
She's just not Michael Jackson. She didn't get the airplay of Michael Jackson. She got a ton. Don't get me wrong. She got a ton. But her replay, like if you were to turn on a radio station now, which I don't understand why they're still playing Michael Jackson. But with that being said, his songs are like generationally known for years and years, where I feel like you won't even hear a Janet Jackson, even on an R&B station, whether you're streaming service, like if you're a Sirius XMs and all that, you don't really just hear a ton of her in the year of 2020.
I think her greatest hits album could go beat for beat with just about anyone that's ever lived.
Ooh, this is a good one too. Maybe we could do a battle of best ofs.
I mean, it's real. I mean, her catalog is unreal.
It really is, and obviously having influences we both did by older sisters or sister.
My mom loved Janet Jackson too. It wasn't just my sister. Like my mom was a big fan of like this kind of like music in like the late 80s, early 90s, like the Janet Jacksons, the Paula Abduls, who had a huge year as well.
Oh yeah, but this was again like it's another good point. Very big time for Janet, for Paula Abdul and some of these like pop star female artists of the time. Another one I have to bring up, Bill, two like major hits from this time and more in the rock genre. Free Fallin' by Tom Petty, I mentioned earlier, but like smash it, the like sing along of the time. Everybody, you know, it's almost like that bar, you know, or maybe early stage of drinking night. You put this on, you're hugging your friend, you're sharing a pint. Slancha, Clink a Glass, Start Drinking, Singing, Free Falling. Also in there was Janie's Got a Gun from Aerosmith, which is in one of my favorite scenes from Not Another Teen Movie. But I could say that, Bill, every 5 minutes of that movie, because it could be, I think it's the perfect spoof movie.
So I recently rewatched that and Scary Movie. Original Scary Movie, not that good. Go back, rewatch it. Not Another Teen Movie. Every moment is a classic moment. Every 5 minutes is laugh out loud. If you're like of our age group and you kind of grew up on those like teen drama movies, like that movie, I was about to say, and I think I said, like every 5 minutes is an iconic scene in that movie to me. Scary Movie, the original, I like it a lot. I think Scary Movie 2 took it to the next level. I think that's actually the better. Too. Mm-hmm, But again, Aerosmith, Janie's Got a Gun. Huge smash hit for them at the time. Obviously, this is the era when Liv Tyler and Alicia Silverstone were in a ton of music videos. Don't think they were actually in this one per se. Again, just like Phil Collins all over this. As we mentioned, he won Record of the Year. This is also a year he had 3 hits. I'm looking here, 58, 56, 53, all Phil Collins. I already mentioned Michael Bolton. Praying for Time by George Michael, like something you heard at the time of the Magic 106.7s of the time. Yeah, just Taylor Dane involved during this year. Just incredible. We mentioned Milli Vanilli. We mentioned Vanilla Ice. Just an incredible year of like mishmash songs. I would actually, this would be fun. Maybe I should get Spotify just for this. Like, I would like to just listen to this like as it progresses into each other, because it's such a cornucopia of odd genre music smashed together. I mean, I just made my decision right there because you mentioned it. I was going to put Vanilla Ice in the vault just because it is like of our era. And it's the most like rap song on this countdown. That's like a legit rap song, but it's Vanilla Ice, obviously. So that's kind of how they ease the public into it with this like goofy ass white guy. But I love this song. I know every word to it and probably have since about 1993. I remember that my cousin, got this CD at either a Christmas or at his birthday party, and he was like all jacked up, and I was like, what the hell is this? We went into the other room, we listened to it. It was actually probably a tape at the time, now that I'm thinking of it. But my cousin Andy, I can remember the moment he got this, I think it was To the Extreme, Vanilla Ice, or whatever the hell it was. So, and you need the specific like album version. They play a couple of radio edits that aren't as good, but an all-time like corny, goofy song, and I love it.
Last one I want to mention, then let's put these nominations in. This one's not going to make it for me, but really could. Again, talk about 1990. We mentioned the Humpty Dance. We mentioned Belle Biv DeVoe. This song right here, Seduction, to make it right. Like, that is one of those, like, this is right before like the Euro trash, they call it, the 90s. Like all those like songs that had all that Euro influence, like the Eiffel 65s, the Aquas. That's a late 90s version. But basically most 90s was like that Euro trash. I got all the producers from Europe to come in and make like house style music. But To Make It Right, like, I'm pretty sure, isn't this the song that you gonna do everything go right? I think that's that song at least. I mean, I could be wrong. But
I actually don't know. I thought that was Rob Bass. And
you're right, it is. We're gonna move right into it, Bill.
I was like, I don't think I even know this song. Like, quickly as you're scrolling through the list here, and if you don't watch us, we are scrolling through the Wikipedia list. But Unskinny Bop, another good one that we kind of glazed over there. That's like a hair metal holdout. That was that's definitely on my liked songs.
Yeah, by Poison again. Bill, a good amount of Poison on this list as well. A band that I don't really put with necessarily like a certain time frame. But so Vanilla Ice is going on your list. Is that
no? It's not. It's not. Oh, it's not. I've disqualified it because it's a little too corny. Even though one of my picks is even cornier, but I feel like it exemplifies the time better.
All right, so let's go with your first one. Who will be your first nominee to go on the vote to get into the Pop Culture Piledriver Jukebox?
So it'll be Stop What You're Doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. I look funny, but you're making money. It's going to be Digital Underground, the Humpty Dance. I still listen to this song like all the time. This is an all-time hip-hop song. The lyrics are great, and I don't know if you know Eric Freed.
Yes, the former Nessun employee, or maybe still there.
Yeah, he's a great local news guy in the Boston area, for those of you who are listening maybe outside of this area. And he... The first time I ever did a hit with him, like I produced like a web hit, and it was like one of the first ones I ever did. And instead of reading the script for the first take, he literally just did what I did. He did Stop What You're Doing, because I'm about to ruin. And like he just did the whole first verse of the song. and I was fucking floored because he's a goofy looking white guy. And it just was unbelievably impressive. He's also a good dancer. But this is that kind of song. This is, again, a little bit of that rap-ish feel leaking into the mainstream. Digital Underground had some other hits, but this is obviously synonymous. Great lyrics. They were known for launching a few rap careers, mainly Tupac. So I think this is a fitting piece to put in for our fans to vote on.
Did you just say that Digital Underground launched Tupac?
Yeah, he was like a roadie for the band.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant he was influenced. I was like, I think Tupac was doing stuff like mixtapes before this. But anyways,
he helped they helped get his career going.
Okay. I thought, but yeah, whatever. Yes, you're right. I did see that because that's one of those behind the musics when they did those, which missed those. All right, Bill, for me, the first one I'm going to nominate, I'll give you a little lyrical tasting. Words like violence, break the silence, come crashing into my little world, painful to me, pierce right through me. Can't you understand? Oh, my little girl. A little creepy at the end. But yes, Enjoy the Silence, Depeche Mode, quite possibly the greatest Depeche Mode song, and one of those just like eerie ballads that everyone knows. Just an incredible love song. I think maybe the best of the time, but people don't recognize it because it's not necessarily corny. It's actually well written, well produced, hot damn jam. I couldn't, when I saw it on this list, it's one of my favorite songs from this era, from this time. Depeche Mode, probably has its haters, but I think overall they will live on forever in certain ways. And this song right here is an absolute smash. You hear the eeriness, the ernst, the angst in this song of just like being in love with someone, and that feeling usually doesn't get replicated in such a way that makes you actually like feel emotion. Usually it's either like goofy, funny, poppy, a little bubblegummy, and this one actually brings that raw emotion of just having everything you ever want here in your arms. So Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode will be my nom.
I love that pick. I had it high on my list of mentions because this is like an era of music I think is severely underrated. Like I love Tears for Fears. Mm-hmm. I love the Smiths. I love that kind of sad, Curie type of songs, even though the Cure gets underrated as having some massive pop hits, known as kind of like a downer band. And this is kind of downer band as well. Personal Jesus, another great one, even though I think that rockin' version that Marilyn Manson does is better, but they got bones of that song. They got the whole fucking song from Depeche Mode. So a great pick. I really like that you have that in there. So we have a really diverse group already with just the 2 nominations. And I'm going to make it even more diverse here because I'm going with probably the biggest influence my sister had on me in her entire life. And that is New Kids on the Block, Step by Step. Number 33 overall. It peaked at number 1 in June. This is probably in the over the course of several years living in a house with a teenage girl, as a 2 year behind her in life. This was one of her most played songs. There's a few that I remember for the rest of my life. Like Craig David, 7 Days was another one. Christina Aguilera, Genie in a Bottle, where she would just have it on repeat. And I'm a guy who plays songs on repeat kind of because of her. But this song is incredible. I love the step 1. We can have lots of fun. Step 2, just me and you. Step 3. Step 2, there's so much we can do. Like this is an all-time boy band song. I would put it in, probably the top 5, maybe Mount Rushmore of boy band songs. So I couldn't not have it on our voting list here because we've done, the top boy bands of all time. New Kids on the Block, I don't think gets enough respect in that era. I think they were kind of pushed. They were kind of like the only ones in that time frame.
No, I think they get plenty of respect.
I don't think they do. I think they should be pushing the top 3. Yeah, all time.
Well, our list is a little different than most people's lists. Obviously, I think they were top 5, but I think bands like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC had that battle that raised both.
That's what I mean. There was nothing else around here, so I don't think they get remembered as much.
I think they get remembered. I just don't think they get respect of the type of music. If that's the argument I would make personally. I get what you're saying though. All right, so we got Humpty Dance, Step by Step, and Enjoy the Sound. So I'm in a internal battle. I have 2 songs here, 2 of my absolute favorite songs. One when I was a kid, by far the second greatest music video of all time is one of the songs. The other one is a song to this day I think just absolutely slaps, rocks, and we haven't mentioned either one of these yet specifically for this case.
And so, spoiler alert, I had one of them on my list and I took it off because I saw you had it in your mentions.
Yeah.
And I'm betting you don't know which one it is.
I'm guessing it's the more rock one in my head, but because I think the other, well, who cares? The 2 songs are, I'll be honest, and I'm gonna battle it out in my head and I'm gonna make it quick. We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel, strictly 80s Joel, and and Epic by Faith No More. These are two songs that like live in my brain. Epic is because everybody and their mother knows that song. They might not know the band name. They may not know the song title, but when you hear the song, you know it. Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire. Maybe not people of the classic Joel variety of like all of his music, but this was like my Billy Joel. This was the guy, and the song is incredible. Hard to sing along with. Again, weird ass story. Music video is incredible. So many elements about this when I was just a youngin'. Again, this and and George Harrison's.
Got my mind set on you.
Those are the two best music videos of all time. It's incredible. The backflip, it was him. Don't tell me it wasn't. But it's really hard for me when I think of like the songs and what song I want to be represented with my name on it and to potentially be voted to be Live Forever from 1990.
See, I disqualified Vanilla Ice Baby because it was a little too much cheese. I feel like We Didn't Start the Fire is a lot of cheese, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just for all time vault's sake. I don't know if I love it, but Faith No More, what is it? Can you feel it? See it? Live it today. Like the way it starts, you want it all, but you can't have. Just an absolute rock fucking banger of a song. And I think it set the tone for the rest of the 90s rock. I think it was made and recorded in 1989 just to show you how far ahead of the curve this band was with that kind of grungy sound.
It was rap rock too.
It was a little bit of Rage Against the Machine.
Well, yeah, that's a great like precursor. So I'm having a tough time because I actually think like Billy Joel stands out more from this time period. Epic, like if you put it on today, I don't think it would even sound. It would sound old, but it wouldn't sound like out of place old. It would sound as old as like Evanescence to me if there was actually rock.
But there's a lot of songs like that in the 90s that like, especially like in 1990, like a lot of these don't have a place in time. Like 1990 is such an odd year. There's so many different types of music that I don't think you can pin it down to just one.
It's a good argument, both sides, Bill. I have to make a decision for the sake of time. I'm really tough. Like, I love all three of these. I was almost hoping you grabbed one. But with that being said, my gut for the time period, it's hard, Bill. It's hard. Like, I love these songs, and I don't know why I'm taking this so personal. I'm gonna go with Billy Joel. We Didn't Start the Fire.
That's fine. I was hoping you would go with Epic Faith No More because it's a phenomenal song. But Billy Joel. I mean, it's been parodied in TVs. There's a great Browns quarterback song parody of all the different quarterbacks they've had over the year. Browns are a dumpster fire. So go YouTube that. We'll tweet that out from the PCP account. But
yeah, it's a good one. So we'll finalize. You will get the vote. If you're hearing this now, or we get a snippet just of this part, you get to vote for who gets etched in time in the jukebox of the Pop Culture Piledriver from 1990. The Humpty Dance by Digital Underground. Step by Step, New Kids on the Block. We Didn't Start the Fire, Billy Joel. Enjoy the Silence, Depeche Mode. That right there is our snapshot from 1990. You put the vote at Pop Culture PD over on Twitter. It is a hell of a list, hell of a lot of fun putting this into it. You can see I'm stressed, I'm sweaty, my hair is dipping down. It has become quite the podcast. But Bill, now we turn our attention to this week in the Dork Shared Gooniverse.
This week in Dork Shared Gooniverse.
All right, so we got a lot happening in the DSG, including tonight. We are doing a superhero draft. I think it kicks off at 8:30. What is it?
8:30 p.m.
8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what it is, Mountain or Central, but you could probably figure that out if I looked at the clock.
2 hours back.
2 hours back, yeah.
Central's 1 hour, Mountain's 2, West is 3. Gotcha.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. Go West, right? King of Wishful Thinking. So that will be a lot of fun. I have a definite strategy that I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull off. We'll see, because there's 9 fucking people drafting this thing. Could go till forever.
No,
so
I'm telling you, I'm not giving any explanation. I'm saying the name and I'm moving on.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we should definitely do.
I'm just going to say like Superman, next guy, like move on.
And a nice segue here for the hashtag Dork Boys, who did female superheroes. Need to listen to that. That came out last night. Then Mac and Goo did the 1989 classic Aliens. CMC did Horrible Bosses versus the other guys, which is, I think, a debate that we spurned.
No, I want to say something about that. These guys have done this whole, like, original versus sequel. Why would they just do Horrible Bosses 1 versus Horrible Bosses 2? And I understand there was like a Mac take that's involved, but, you could have side plotted it. But again, who the hell am I? Do your own thing.
Yeah, if we're going to dive into every bad take that Max has, you've just opened up a whole world of podcasting. So plenty of takes to dive into there. I think that's an easy choice. I love Horrible Bosses. Other Guys is great, but I don't think it's as good.
I've never seen Other Guys. No one's ever told me like that's like, oh, you should really see that one. So
I mean, for the reference of a desk pop alone, and it's definitely quotable with some really funny stuff in there. But
I like Horrible Bosses. I think Horrible Bosses is hilarious. That's like one of the most like I find underrated. I didn't need the sequel. The sequel was fine, but I thought it was just such a really good concept idea in Motherfucker Jones. And
it's perfect. They said it was like 82 minutes. I haven't listened to all of theirs either, but for my take, it's 82 minutes of just pure delight. I think Jason Bateman can be a little overdone at times. He's one of my all-time favorites, but I get kind of sick of him. But in this movie, he's perfect. They talked about it, I think, on Mac and You or one of the podcasts, that he is the best guy at reacting to things happening to him, whether it's in Arrested Development or movies. So kudos. I mean, and Charlie Day in this movie fucking steals the show. That's not my name. That's not my name.
The thing about him is he's so good at just being that character. I don't think he could. I know, but I think it's like, unfortunately, like you've seen, he really hasn't had much roles outside of, he did, what was the movie I actually really liked? That's ridiculous, like wannabe Transformers. It's not going to come to me, and I'm really sorry.
Pacific Rim, was that the one?
Yes, I loved the first Pacific Rim. Didn't even bother with the second one, but he like plays that character, but tries to have a little bit more acting going on in that one. But yeah, Horrible Boss is just, and obviously Jason Sudeikis, like it's just like a great cast and great, like everyone performed so well in that movie.
See, I like Jason Sudeikis, but again, that was the perfect blend of casting. It felt like it was a fifth season of a all-time great comedy show where these guys were just clicking on all cylinders, and it was like a movie the first time they'd probably all worked together. So that's incredible. TLDR, of course, Talk Comics, and then on Thursday night, Dr. Joe and myself have the I've Heard It Both Ways podcast. Psych Rewatchcast. Rewatchcast. It's a Psych Rewatch podcast. We'll be doing episode 4, a pretty good one. But after episode 4, like it really kicks in high gear. So get on board, get on the train, because it's about to get real good in the psych world. And then streaming, of course, Shine Time, Arvondi, Dr. Joe. They're always streaming, so make sure to go and check that out.
Yeah, get those guys on Twitch. You can check out all the podcasts Bill just mentioned on iTunes and wherever you find your podcasts. Bill, for us, upcoming pods, next week, very special episode. Bill is turning 53 years old, so we are going to be celebrating his birthday by giving him a topic of choice. Do you want to tell them what it is, or you want them to come back for... Actually, you can tell them, because then they can enjoy and watch.
Files of Police Squad. One of my all-time favorite movies. Hopefully we'll get to do all 3 on the podcast. If I were to rank them in order of the ones that I like,
save it.
1 and 3 are like nose for nose, tough, and then 2.
Okay, we'll say. I think save that. Well, we'll do all 3, then we can, because by rewatching them, maybe it will spark that.
Oh, I rewatched 1 and 3 probably, I don't know, at least 2-3 times a year.
I know this sounds dumb, but what's the one where he's the umpire? Isn't that 2?
Oh, that's 1. That's one of the greatest.
We'll get to it. Don't even bother. So next week for Bill's birthday, we will be celebrating by watching Naked Gun, both in the buff. We will both be naked, guns covering our guns next week. So look forward to that. Then we'll finish out the month. We have some other things to get to, including, I think, some YouTube content I'm going to try to produce in the next week. Very short, very simple, very simplistic stuff. So be checking us out over there on YouTube. Again, thank you so much for tuning into this. Make sure you go and vote for the 1990 song that you believe should be a part of the jukebox. Again, it is between these 4 songs: Humpty Dance, Step by Step, We Didn't Start the Fire, Enjoy the Silence. Again, at Pop Culture PD. He can be found at Billy D 2411. I can be found at Jason D Rossi. We can be found at Pop Culture PD. Bill, any final words for the people as you get that phone call?
I don't know. I'm getting a call from Andy Lamb. That looks like spam to me. I don't know. Andy Lamb.
Hey, Andy Lamb, thank you for listening. We'll catch you all next week. Frank says hi.